everyone. It's April, which means it's time to shelve all of the books that I got in March. I will warn you, there are more than usual this month because I attended Sports Romance Con in the middle of March, which, if you haven't heard of Sports Romance Con, look it up. It was in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and it is one of my favorite book events to go to. The organizers do such a great job, and there are so many amazing authors there that I can't wait to share what I picked up with you. So let's dive into it. So let's start with my Probably Smut Book Club box from March. So the book club pick was And Now Back to You by B.K. Borison. And then they also offered First Time Caller in a similar matching style. So of course I had to get them both. I have not read And Now Back to You yet. I have read First Time Caller. It was a 5-star read for me in 2025. So I know I needed to have this copy. So I'm so excited to have these both on my shelf. I picked up a copy of Sunlight by Devney Perry during Probably Smut's book club sale at the end of last month. I have a copy of Crossroads in this same beautiful linen cover, so I had to get the matching one. I recently listened to both of these books on audiobook. Love the narrators, love the story, so I had to have a copy. I don't do them much anymore, but I did have a book of the month credit, so I, of course, had to pick up How to Write a Love Story by Catherine Walsh. The cover is beautiful. The story sounds great. I can't wait to dive into this. I think it'll be a good spring, summer read for me. Next, let's dive into some books that I picked up last month prior to going to Sports Romance Con, or ones that I took with me and got signed. So the first is my Probably Smut, you're seeing a theme here, edition of Ink and Alchemy. I had Sloane St. James sign this. I love this cover, and I can't wait to read this book. So I'm really excited that it came before I left so that I could have her sign that. She is lovely in person. Then you may have seen my video on winning in stormy weather during a Goodreads giveaway. It came 2 days before I had to leave for the conference. So I took it to have Chelsea Curto sign this, as well as I have 3 of the other books in the DC Star series. I had not picked up Slapshot or Sinbin yet, so I grabbed those prior to heading there because I didn't want to. I missed the pre-order and I didn't want to miss out on getting these ones signed. So now I have all of the DC Stars books up until this point. There's still 2 more coming out in this series, so plenty of time to catch up if you haven't read these. Hockey romance, great tropes in all of them, would highly recommend. Next up are a couple that I picked up from Taylor E. Weston. I read both of these books. I love them so much. I love her writing, so I had to pick them up. So I grabbed a copy of Making Time and Poolside, both wonderful reads, both MM. Not all of her books are. She has a nice mix of a lot of different character pairings and all of that. So these are great. This is the second book in a series, and this is the first. Next is a book that I actually helped with the cover on, Ashlyn Harmon's Yesterday I Cared. Love this series. She is a dear and a really nice friend. So this book is one that I had to get signed. I have the other 2 in this Adair swimming series. So I needed to have one of these as well. 2 more that didn't necessarily fit some of the other sports that I have laid out. So the first is Delightful by Steph C.R. I already read this little novella. It's super quick, super fast, pickleball obsessed guy with a gym owner trying to start a pickleball training and get people in their small town excited about the sport and help the gym. So really cute novella here. Lots packed into this little book with a lot of punch. And then The No Fall Zone by Emily Shacklett. I picked this one up. She has some football romances as well, but this one is snowboarding, and the cover was just so pretty that I had to grab it. Emily was really nice to meet at Sports Romance Con as well. You're gonna get a theme here. Everybody was great. So let's dive into some of the sports that I got multiples of. All of these are sports that I really love to read. We'll start with hockey romance because that is huge right now, obviously. So from A.J. Truman, I picked up Gross Misconduct and Scoring Chance. These are the first 2 books in this series. I believe there's another one coming out later this year. I had read Hot Mall Santa by A.J. Truman during my like holiday binge reading at the end of 2025. Really enjoyed his writing, so I had to grab these. I'm actually reading this one right now. I'm about 75% of the way through it, and I am adoring these characters. Then we're going to kind of rapid fire here. So we have Behind the Bench by Jillian Arley. From the Off Ice series, book 1, What It Was by Grace Ryan. This one is also a volleyball romance. So she was on an underrepresented sports panel that I went to. So I'm really excited about diving into this series. So she's got some really interesting sports combinations and some exciting things coming out. So I'm looking forward to reading some of the stuff on her backlist. One of the books that that I got in, actually the next 4 are ones that came in my like welcome bag at Sports Romance Con. So the first is Divorce from Number 38 by Elise Faber. She was also on a panel that I listened to and really adored her. This is the second book in a series, so I'm going to try and read book 1 first on Kindle Unlimited, and then I will dive into this one. She did say this one is her favorite, so if you're looking to start somewhere, this may be where you can dive in. I'm a purist. I love to read interconnected standalones in order. It's my cross to bear. Sometimes it puts me a little far behind on my TBR, but I'll deal with it. Next, I actually have a copy of Unsteady by Peyton Crin. The 3rd book in this series just came out, so I will actually be doing a giveaway for this one, so stay tuned for that. But I was able to get this one signed by her, and she is lovely. Like I said, book 3 just came out, so there are this is number 1. Then Susan Renee couldn't make the conference, but she was kind enough to still have these books in the goodie bags. So Off Your Game and Unfair Game. Looking forward to reading these. Like I said, I wasn't able to meet her, but I am excited to have these on my shelf. Melt the Ice by Lindsay Sands. Lovely. I met her last year, but I wasn't able to pick up any of her books, so I'm really excited to dive into this one. She also had a life-size cutout of the main character, which was super fun and really drew people into her table. All right, moving on. We're going to dive into baseball next. So this Sin and War is actually, so Gracie Ryan was there, so I picked it up from her, and I'm really excited to read this. It should be a quick read. Unspoken, which is book 1 by KJ Maggs. She actually takes the photos for her covers. We were talking about them, and I think that's really fun. I always like to know the backstory of kind of how these wonderful authors come up with these covers and their stories. So that was really fun. Again, book 1. Like I said, I like to start at the beginning of interconnected standalone series. So excited to dive into this one. And then I think the 3rd book in this series is coming out soon. So hopefully I'll be able to catch up before those all come out. First Baseman's Grumpy Fan. This is Rosalie Peace. Again, book 1. Excited to dive into this. Rosalie was on a panel that I went to, and I was also able to meet her last year. Again, couldn't pick up all the books that I wanted last year, so I was able to grab this. And the last baseball book was Fielded Dreams by Brittany Arguin. I have Match Game by Brittany. So I was excited to pick up another one of her books. Great Asian representation in all of her books, own voices. So really excited to dive into this. I know a few people that have read this one and they've really enjoyed it. And last but not least are my racing books. I am a huge IndyCar fan. Myself, no books that I have found so far. So authors, if you're out there listening and you want to write an IndyCar romance, I would love that. And I would be happy to help you do some back research. So these are all F1 books. I do love to pick up racing books when I have a chance because I just love the sport so much. So I was able to grab Faster by Andy J. Christopher. This is actually, she explained it, it's kind of 3 books, 3 stories all put into one. So anxious to try this and see. I love it when books have a different spin on their formatting. So the fact that this is 3 in 1 was really enticing to me. So that's why I picked up this one of all of the ones that she had with her. Then there's Formula Love by M.L. Miller. This is, again, the first book in the series. She did say this one is one you would want to read if you don't know a lot about Formula One. Getting into book 2, it doesn't explain the sport as much. So if you're not as familiar with the sport, I would definitely grab book 1 and then do book 2 for her. I'm more familiar with the sport, like I said, but I am a purist, so I wanted to read book 1 first. So really anxious to dive into this. And then looking around. Last but not least is Crash Into Me by Darcy St. John. Again, book 1 in this series. And I'm looking forward to diving into this. I feel like I'm a broken record saying that. I just added a lot of books to my TBR, so we'll see how fast I can get to all of them, but I will read them all. Don't worry, to my husband, but I'm excited to get to them. Let's get the rest of these up on the shelf. Okay, thank you as always for joining me on shelving all of my books from March, and I can't wait to see what April brings. I promise it will be a much smaller stack as I am unable to maintain this level of books every month and probably still stay married. So if you enjoyed this and want to see more of my content, please hit the subscribe button, and I will see you again soon. Bye.